Hello and welcome to the 115th episode of Rambling Weekly. I do not apologize for the title and what this will be, because I don't know. I kind of thought about it. It's something that pops up every now and again. I was like, why not? But yeah, hope everybody's doing well. We had last week the daylight savings and stuff, and then work was fairly busy, so I am effectively, like everybody else, tired, tuckered out, and all that sort of fun jazz. So, but carry on. So, what has been going on? Oh, like I said, work's been heavy. I've been actually dabbling a little bit in the Flemask there, or however you say it, the one that's that has all the different sound, like the Sega Genesis and stuff. I'll actually let me bring it up. I'll try to play it, and hopefully it don't sound too awful. It's nowhere near done or anything, but I'm gonna turn this down so it doesn't too bad. But I was fiddling around with it, and this is what I got at the moment.
Diplomat.
This is right here. Okay, now that I've subjected you to that, like I said, nowhere near finished. Nah, nothing. Yeah, I know I like my ostinatos, which is the repeating phrasing and stuff, but that I'll definitely change that up a bit. And it was a lot, like I was using more like monster leads and stuff, so it was a lot more crunchy and stuff. So it's sort of shifted to this, but I was like, it's something I'm kind of playing with. I do that every now and again, much to my chagrin, because then I will stop and then be like, what was I doing with this tune? And then be like, ooh, I don't remember. So, but that I have, actually, I don't know. I think no, I don't know if I did by that point or not. If I hadn't, I beat the first Dark Souls game. I actually played through and beat that. I don't know if I'll go through and play it again. I did play a little bit past that, and I was like, okay, like I see. Yeah, they get a little tougher and stuff, and I guess it does it up to like 7 or 8 playthroughs or something like that. I'm like, I could see myself maybe coming back and just kind of playing a little bit here and there. It's warmed on me, but like there's certain things on it that, if I was to be like, oh yeah, I can see why this appealed, when it came out, it really sort of gave the player a lot more agency with it, as opposed to 10 so years of a bunch of like more and more cutscenes and stuff. So you have that. The aesthetics don't look too bad. The sound design honestly makes me think of Silent Hill. Some of the sounds make me think of it, like in the menu and stuff. That, and there's no mini map. The mini map is such a it is such an awful inclusion in video games. I don't know if that's a hot take, but it is such a bad way to do anything, because in one hand, I get that it's helpful for a whole bunch of stuff, but on the other hand, you're focusing way too much on it. And I know that's not everybody, but I think that I think it makes it especially, well, I would say if there's a big reason for it, like um East later East games have this problem, where it's like, oh well, you're going through to make the map for the thing and stuff, or chart the area, which is a cool concept and a cool way to utilize that mini map. But then it's, yeah, and I get it, because if you don't have that, then you're having to like flip through to be like, oh well, here's this, or no map at all, learn the game. Like that I think that it either endears or it upsets some people. But yeah, that mini map, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It is no good. Well, the one for Genealogy of the Holy War is pretty nice, because you bring it up and then it allows you to move faster and stuff. But yeah, no. Bleh. Yeah, so those are some of my thoughts on the Dark Souls Remastered. 14 years after the original game came out. Speaking of that, let's see if I can. I'll find the image real quick. Oh no, I want to save that one. Let's see. Where is the image? Nope. What are you? What are you? Nope. Well, okay. I might have to. I don't want to do that, but I might have to. Fine, I'll do it. Nah, because I've got I'll just have to switch it back. Oh my dear heavens, go away. Because I have it set to the map for my book, for Sager's Calling, and yeah. If you don't know, I'm doing a reading of it on Saturdays. You can pop in. You don't even have to like say anything. You just kind of pop in, wave, and that'd be it, and just listen as I'm doing readings of it and explaining why I am an idiot and do what I do. Why is it you do what you do? And I don't remember what I was even doing. Oh, yes, now I remember. Desktop. So this lovely thing popped up on my... where in Blue Blazes is it? Value. There we are. This popped up on my... move you to the top? Where are you at? Why do you not? What is this doing? Why can't... there we go. Order, move to top. Did not do what I wanted it to do. Whoa, where is this? Where's this thing at? Oh. It was hiding from me. Look at this thing. Look at... Oh, what have I done? Okay. Look at that. Your channel's 15 years old. Oh my gosh. What are we doing here? Oh, oh boy. And think about all you've achieved. That almost seems backhanded, but depends on what you mean by achieved, I guess. But you can turn it in a nice way. I think the people that that I've got to meet and learn from and chit chat with and stuff, that I wouldn't have had it not been for the channel. So, woo! But 15 years on that, yeah. And if I remember correctly, I did it for like on the Ides of March. So it's similar to Twitter X or whatever. I think I signed up on that on like Christmas Eve or something. So it's always like, here's the thing. It's like, oh, it's Christmas time. Oh, it's middle of March. And we're not revisiting old ancient videos of yore. No, that is not what we're doing today. But yeah, I felt about 3 or 4 layers of dust cake onto myself when I saw that, and I was like, oh, cool, thank you, great, wonderful. What else? Oh, I've been dabbling in Resident Evil 4, the original. I'm still a little trepidatious and wanting to buy the remake, but I mean, I've heard pretty decent things about it and some about it. But like sure, there's a bunch of different versions of the OG Resident Evil 4, the GameCube, the PS2, and then the subsequent ones afterwards. So like I'm just playing it on Steam, but that's like one of my favorite games. I love that game. So yeah, it's fun to play it and be like, oh, okay, yeah. Except for so I'm playing through it. You know, I'm professional and stuff, and I'm slightly past the water room, which is it's such an awful room. Challenging, but it's such an awful room because it's there's a lot of opening and you're being attacked and you don't have tons and tons of ammo to work with. It is and not only are you getting like trident pincered in 3 different directions, but you've also got the archers shooting crossbow bolts at you and stuff, and then there's more of them that come in, and then it's the part where Ashley has to do the cranks for the 2 platforms, and you have to protect her while it's a lot. Yeah, so I'm a little bit past that right now, and I don't know. It is definitely one of my favorite games. I briefly played 3 eons ago when I was still in high school. So this is a couple years after 3 had come out and stuff. But I didn't get to really play it too much. I don't remember what was going on at the time. I know my uncle had popped over for something. I think it was because he was showing his new motorcycle at the time. But but yeah, my Uncle Tim, rest in peace, Uncle Tim. But he, I think, he was over for a bit, and we just because I rented it from somewhere, Blockbuster, I think, and then rented it, and then only played it for a tiny little bit, and just didn't play it after that. So, not to say that 3 was bad or anything. I just didn't really. Yeah, you didn't really play 1 or 2, and then you try 3, and you're like, I don't really know what's going on with this. But yeah, so playing a little bit of that, and that's about all I got. I've really sucked at trying to read stuff, so I'm trying to think. Writing hasn't really done anything this week either. Like the thing was I had like a inventory thing that I helped out with work, so my normal work schedule got mucked up by Tuesday. And then it was very busy for the rest of it. It just, when you're when you I have a good set of a routine of stuff, and when you start to jostle out of the routine, it can make me a tired boy. But it'll also be I'll get into kind of some of that other stuff here with the topic. So the topic is something that I have I make mentions of every now and again, and I think it probably wanting to talk about it a little bit more now, a little bit more in detail, I should say now, maybe stemming from talking with Graham probably about a month ago, and doing that recording with him. As some people are aware of, either through personal knowing me or me mentioning it, or if not, hi, welcome to the channel. This thing here is that is a birth defect, and we want to go into a little bit, and it is interesting how it is altered my personality. Or it kind of gives me like it forces me to be a little bit different than how I would normally be, if that makes sense. Or how I guess I could have been, maybe, because there's I could be a very social, outgoing person, but this thing makes it a lot more difficult to do so. And what is this thing? I'm going to figure out how to do this, because I am a very silly Billy and I do not know what I'm doing. Is it in window capture? I think so. Oh dear heavens, that is not correct. Okay, off, okay, close you. I have a whole bunch of nonsense open. Oh, I guess a little bit also. End of an era. Starting in May, Skype will no longer be available. Thanks for all the fish, Skype. You were a real one, and you will be missed. But let's see here. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I should have done. I apologize. I should have been a little bit more on the ball here. Ah, there we go. Yesh. Ah, okay. Oh boy. All right. So, and just so you're aware, the first tab here is Mercy, which is basically, I think I don't remember which one I had set up. Oh, it was going to be one of the tunes I was going to pick. I was going to be Floating Alkaline, but I wanted to make certain Project Sync wasn't a combination of different composers. And this is just the credited ones in the work. But I'm going to go with something a little bit different, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. So, basically, I guess I should say, hey, there's going to be pictures of things. If you don't find them, hey, you might find them queasy. Maybe, I don't know. But that's just listen to the voice, if anything. Alright, so cards on the table. And I don't know if, okay, you've got alright, cards on the table. I really don't talk about this. I don't really, my parents can vouch for this. It's not something outside of, some passing jokes or something. I've never been really inquisitive in asking more details about it, really. And truth be told, my memories before, because I had a bunch of different surgeries on it and stuff, but they started around kindergarten. So I was 5. So 5 years old. So my memories for it pre and during it, because I remember kindergarten and first grade surgeries, and I don't know if there were, I thought there was 3, maybe there was a third one or something. There might have been 4th, but those 2 in particular, not necessarily the events stick in my head so much as just the time frame of it. So I don't even, there was a like, I didn't even know what this was called. I forget what this thing is called. Because it's not something I think about. Because my parents were very, and I'll actually bring it up here. Let me see if I can find it. So, right through here. So, whoops, get out of here. All right, we'll highlight that and bring this back up here real quick. So I think it's called microtia anotia, or microtia anotia. So basically it's a congenital deformity where the auricle The external ear is underdeveloped. A completely underdeveloped auricle is referred to as an anotia or anotia. Because they have the same origin, it can be referred to as the microtia anotia. So or microtia. Like I said, I don't even know how you read it. Microtia can be unilateral, one side only, or bilateral, affecting both sides. Microtia occurs 1 in 8,000 to 10,000 births. In unilateral microtia, the right ear is most commonly affected. It may occur as a complication of taking Accutane, isotretinoin during pregnancy. So, yeah, look at me getting that 1 out of 8 to 10,000 luck roll. Ain't that how that works. Yeah, so I have the unilateral one. So, and most commonly, it is the right ear. And there are different grades of this, and this is where, so oddly enough, the 3rd grade is the one that's most common, but which is the absence of an external ear with a small peanut-like vestige structure and an absence of an external ear canal and eardrum. So I don't know which grade I had. Like I vaguely recall having something there. That wasn't what it is now. I want to say it was like grade 1 or something, or maybe 2. But the thing is that they yeah, it can oh, what am I thinking? Cause I don't know what it's called, but like if you take your your ear, you got this little flap here. I remember having that on this side. For some reason, because I remember, because it was like shaped like a little tooth, and I'd always play with it, which sounds really weird, but I did. It was and I was very bummed when it went away. but because I want to say it was like 2. I'm about to try to do Bloods and Crips, but that's not it. But it was like 2 little teeth sort of thing. I vaguely remember that being, because I remember just kind of always fiddling with it and stuff. Anyway, regardless, it's somewhere on the scale. Here's some fun stuff. The etiology of microtia or microtia in children remains uncertain, but there are some cases that associate the cause of microtia with genetic defects in multiple or single genes, altitude, which is an interesting one, and gestational diabetes. Risk factors gathered from studies include infants born underweight, male sex, women, gravity and parity, which number of times a female has been pregnant and carried the pregnancies. Okay. And medication use while pregnant. Genetic inheritance has not been fully studied, but in a few studies available, it is shown to occur during the early stages of pregnancy. And then look at all of that. That's is also a feature of many conditions and syndromes. I am not reading all of those, but it's good to know. Like, say you have microtia in a 10-year-old girl who has Goldenhard syndrome, and then in a 50-year-old woman with Saythrow-Choatson syndrome. So it's seemingly tied to a lot of different things. Now, diagnosis at birth, lower grade microtia is difficult to visually diagnose with a physical exam, while higher grade microtia can be visually diagnosed due to noticeable abnormalities. So I probably had a higher grade, because I think, well, I truthfully, I don't know, because so we're going to get into the thing that I highlighted that is no longer, there we go, okay. Actually, before that, we'll get into this stuff here. Treatment. The goal of medical prevention is to provide the best form and function to the underdeveloped ear. Yes, that's usually the goal. So yeah, infants that have noticeable abnormalities are closely monitored by physicians and hearing specialists. I was up until a point, and then I no longer got anything. It's kind of weird. If it was, and I wonder, and I think it was because they got all the surgeries in, and then the last one was a cosmetic one, which would have basically been like, oh, you could basically have a magnet fused into your noggin and then have this detachable little ear, which would have made some fantastic funny little jokes of like, hey, I've lost my ear, and all sorts of pranks and tomfoolery could have been had with that, which to some degree, yes, my puckish little heart missed out on a golden opportunity, but sometimes it's better not to have gone that far. Anyways, yeah, so there's testing done, and I remember doing these CT CAT scans and stuff where, and I did not, like, so it says here age 5 to 6 CT or CAT scans of the middle ear can be done to elucidate its development and clarify which patients are appropriate candidates for surgery to improve hearing. For younger individuals, this is done under sedation, and I'm wondering if younger refers to younger than 5 and 6, because I don't recall being sedated. This sucked. Not because it was like painful or anything like that, but you are in the machine, and it's a lot of time. I think it was like an hour and a half or something, and you have to remain still because it's trying to do all the scanning and everything, and if you start moving around a bunch, it's gonna muck it up. And oh yeah, it sucked. It was not fun. It was not great. But I don't mean it in the sense of like it was absolutely horrible or anything, but it was I not something I really think about to be like, oh yes, those times. No, but it was just, yeah, because I think I did like 2 or 3 of them at least, and I remember having one of the times when I went back to the doctors, because this all happened in at Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, and it's yeah, I remember one of the times that I went towards the end of doing the surgeries and stuff, we weren't doing that, and I was so relieved. I was like, oh, thank goodness. So yeah, so hearing loss associated with congenital oral atresia is a conductive hearing loss. So hearing loss is caused by inefficient conduction of the sound of the inner ear. So basically, essentially children with oral atresia have hearing loss because the sound cannot travel into the usually healthy inner ear. There's no ear canal, no eardrum, and the small ear bones. Now, I don't remember the extent of which, but I do know that so the multiple different surgeries, they took rib cartilage is a pretty common one that they take, and I've got 2 different surgery scars with that, actually 3, but the ribs are one, and then they actually, and I jokingly tell people this, there is some truth to it, but they also took cartilage from my butt, and so when I show my wonderful ear, I can be like, hey, I'm showing you my ass. But so it's a humbling experience, but that, and I could never be a male butt model or anything. I'd be too noticeable, too distinguishable. They would know by the sign of my markings. But oh gracious. So usually is in parentheses over here. Bloop. Because rarely a child with atresia also has a malformation of the inner ear leading to sensorineural hearing loss. The As many as 19% in one study. So, sensorineural hearing loss is caused by a problem in the inner ear, the cochlea, I think. Cochlea, maybe? Cochlea? Cochlea? I'm going with cochlea. Sensorineural hearing loss is not correctable by surgery, but properly fitted and adjusted hearing amplifications or hearing aids are generally provide excellent rehabilitation for this hearing loss. Yeah, they might get the implant. If hearing loss is severe to profound in both ears, the child may be a candidate for an implant of the cochlear or cochlear. And then there's ones where they have an attachment that actually is basically fused to your skull, bypassing it, and then your skull is able to process the vibrations and everything, which is a pretty fascinating way to look at it. The part that I highlighted earlier, we finally now get to. So unilateral sensorineural hearing loss was not generally considered a serious disability by the medical establishment before the 90s. I would have been a very early child of what could have been considered by the medical establishment as a potential serious disability. It was thought that the affected person was able to adjust to it from birth, which would make sense. I mean, if you're having this be, 1 in 8,000, 1 in 10,000, that I would say that's a more moderately common thing than what than a lot of things. So, in general, there are exceptional advantages to gain from an intervention to enable hearing in the microtic ear, especially in bilateral microtia. Children with untreated unilateral sensorineural hearing loss are more likely to have to repeat a grade in school or need supplemental services. So here's the thing. My parents were very adamant about not ever treating me as if I was different, which I think in some ways is a very noble and good way to go about doing it. In some ways, though, I remember very, very vividly there were times that my dad would try to whisper in my ear and then just completely forget. Oh, hey, yeah, it's kind of hard to hear out of that one, and then switch over. And so because it's not necessarily considered a lot of times, there are just a lot of drawbacks that aren't ever thought of that I have to kind of consistently bring up to be like, hey, this is a big reason why I act the way I do on certain things. Children with unilateral sensorineural hearing loss often require years of speech therapy. So I've mentioned this before, but this is what the doctors were told, is that I would possibly need years of speech therapy in order to learn how to enunciate and understand spoken language. This is what they were told. Now, maybe this is because maybe they thought it was worse than what I'm not. I'm not 100% certain because I don't think I had it. I'll have to look at this real quick. What is this? So not only did I have the surgeries for the cartilage, but they also had to carve the bone for the for the eardrum, the 3 different bones for it, which right here, the malleus, the incus, and the stapes, or the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. So I did not have this implant put in, but so I don't know if it was necessarily as bad. I have it up twice. Foolish me. Yeah, see, there's the bone anchoring one I mentioned earlier. Now they had. So I think they may have considered it worse than what it is, or what it was. What is truly unclear, and the subject of an ongoing research study, is the effect of unilateral conductive hearing loss on scholastic performance. If atresia surgery or some form of amplification is not used, special steps should be taken to ensure that the child is accessing and understanding all the verbal information presented in school settings. Whoops. So here's the thing. I don't recall them ever really. I mean, they did take efforts to, there was the surgeries and stuff, but I don't really ever recall any of the doctors, and maybe this was just because it was the parents thing and I just wasn't aware of it and they just shielded me from it, who knows. They never I don't ever recall anything like that. Recommendations for improving a child's hearing in the academic setting include preferential seating in class, an FM system, teacher wears a microphone and the sound is transmitted to the speaker at the child's desk, or an earbud or hearing aid the child wears, conventional hearing aids. Yeah, that none of this happened. Not that I'm aware of, because I certainly did not get preferential seating treatment. I may have in first grade. Actually, no, I can remember being sat kind of in the back in some... Definitely in second grade, I remember being sat in the back, because she did it by alphabet for like the first quarter, first half of the year. But that, yeah. No. This did not happen for me at all. Yeah, and it is important to note that all children with oral atresia are candidates. Not all of them are candidates for repair. And it's based on hearing tests, which I remember because you'd have to like raise your hand and stuff, and the CT scan imaging. If a canal is built where one does not exist, minor complications can arise from the body's natural tendency to heal an open wound closed. So that's something that I always have to deal with. My parents used to clean it, but I have to clean out my ear, and I do it fairly regularly, and it's not fun. And it is one of those things that I put peroxide. It's how they always say never clean your ear with Q-tips and stuff. That's what they told me to do, is to clean it with Q-tips and peroxide and stuff. Maybe things have changed since then, but it's one of those things where I put peroxide in it and I clean it out, and it is gross sometimes. But if you clean it regularly, it is a lot less gross. But when you don't clean it, it would be like a festering wound. And the smell is always present. At least to me, in the sense of like as a child and being like, oh yeah, I need to make sure I clean this thing, because this thing it'll be nasty. And not only that, but like when I clean it, I get nauseous, and it's never fun, because I don't get it now, thankfully, knock on wood, and I hope it doesn't ever come back. But there were times it was happening. I think it happened like 2 or 3 years in a row, where it would happen like once or twice a year, like around Christmas time, where I would have like vertigo. And it would, to explain vertigo, imagine lying on your bed. Now, imagine the sensation of your bed starting to tilt, whatever direction you want it in. Have it starting to tilt, and then all of a sudden, it feels like the way that's tilting, the other axis is starting to spin, and spin, fast. That's what it felt like. It is dizzying and horrible, and oh boy, it is not good. It is just bleh. I loathe it. Loathed it. I mean, I've had it a couple times as I've gotten older. Not nearly as severe, thankfully. But it is just dreadful. And yeah, thankfully that has not been the case. So, yeah, and so the outer ear surgery, there's a rib cartilage graft reconstruction. Yeah, so I had that, and surgery may be performed by specialists, and the technique involves sculpting the patient's own rib cartilage into the form of an ear. Because the cartilage is the patient's own living tissue, the reconstructed ear continues to grow as the child does. In order to be sure that the rib cage is large enough to provide necessary donor tissue, some surgeons wait until the patient is 8 years of age. However, some surgeons with more experience with the technique may begin when the child is aged 6. The major advantage of the surgery is the patient's own tissue is used for reconstruction. It varies to 2 to 4 stages depending on the surgeon's preferred. A novel 1-ear stage reconstruction is performed by a few select surgeons. And one team is able to do it and the ear canal all in one go. Yeah. And then, okay. Cool. Yeah, plastic implant without hospitalization. Yeah, we did not do that. Yes. So, yeah, and then notable cases. Paul Stanley of Kiss fame, or infamy, was born with grade 3 microtia of the right ear. I did not know that. So, in some way, Paul Stanley and I are kindred spirits. So, yeah, and then some related conditions. Oral atresia is the underdeveloped middle ear and canal, and usually occurs in junction with microtia. Atresia occurs because patients with microtia may not have an external opening of the ear canal, though. However, the cochlea and other inner ear structures are usually present. The grade of microtia usually correlates to the degree of development of the middle ear. Microtia is usually isolated but may occur in conjunction with hemifacial microsomia, Goldenhar syndrome, or Treacher-Collins syndrome. It is occasionally associated with kidney abnormalities, which are rarely life-threatening, and jaw problems, and more rarely heart defects and vertebral deformities. So, yeah, I wanted to just talk a little bit about that because and then this is where it is. Anotia is where it is. There's, it's kind of like I don't think it has a narrowing or absence of the ear canal. This contrasts with microtia, and it may occur unilaterally or bilaterally. Complete absence of the auricle, like the cone of which your ear uses to bounce that ear, the outer projected portion of the ear, and narrowing or absence of the ear canal. I don't think this is what this was that I have, just because I vaguely remember having something there, but maybe maybe it was after surgeries and I'm misplacing it. But yeah, so that is that. So why do I bring that up? Because it has affected my behavior, and so like it is very easy for me to be sociable with people, but the problem is that it takes a lot of work to do so. From having to hear somebody and then just being able to like hear them, because what sometimes will happen is just because of the sound of words, they will sound like something but not be like that something, but something else. I can't really think of a good example off the top of my head, but say you're saying something and you mishear something. Now imagine mishearing everything. And so you have to like constantly be focused on, okay, what is it that they're saying? Are they saying, yeah. And so it makes conversations with one person is work. Conversations with multiple people is a marathon. It is very difficult. So I always I have trouble in crowds with people, not because of crowds of people, but because it's hard to hear anybody. So I usually just kind of self-isolate and just kind of drift off to the side, and I feel bad because then a lot of times it'll be like, oh, I'll pluck this person, and it's like, well, there's a whole thing to be enjoying. Go mingle. And it's like, I don't want to do that because that's requires like exponential amount of work to try to hear that. So it makes me pretty tired in certain ways. And I kind of wonder, and I've never had any thing about this because, like I said, I had the surgeries as a kid, and then there was just never anything. They never continued it after that. So whatever things they could have learned and gleaned off of my idiot self, they decided not to do that or what have you. And I don't know. I don't know why. And well, that's what it is at this point. I mean, I guess if anything, it would be interesting to have brain scans because. I mean, I know it's not like, it's like the same thing of, oh, you only use 10% of your brain kind of thing. But it you know, there's quote unquote right brain, left brain thing. Because all your stuff's on the right side, what it does is it transfers to the left side of your brain. So, and then, you know, vice versa. So I wonder how much of my left-sided brain missed out, and so the right side of the brain kind of has to process that a little bit more. So like for example, the right side of the brain is responsible for image processing, spatial thinking, and movement in the left side of the body, which is okay. I'm not left-handed, but the left side of the brain is primarily responsible for speech and abstract thinking. It is more verbal, analytical, and orderly than the right brain. So this probably, you know, you get this in the mid to late 80s, early 90s and stuff. And you kind of wonder, what's gonna happen with this? Like, we'll be able to speak. Will you be even able to really read, analyze information, or understand languages? It is something to consider for the consideration of it. So yeah, like for example, going to the clevelandclinic.org, the health.clevelandclinic.org, talking about brain strokes. The left brain strokes affects your communication skills, such as your ability to form coherent sentences and understand what others are saying. So that's why I bring that up, because I wonder if that does not play some wonderful part in all of this, is that because it is a little shriveled. My left side of my brain's a little smoother than the right side. If that does not play any part in it, left hemisphere strokes are also diagnosed more frequently than the right ones because it's a lot easier to recognize the impact. The researchers aren't yet sure whether that's because they do in fact happen more commonly, or if the right hemisphere strokes are underdiagnosed because the effects can be tougher to spot. One common issue is aphasia, or difficulty speaking, which I do have trouble sometimes speaking. It's even reading off a page. You may notice that they have a hard time expressing language or understanding what is being said to them. The language center of the brain is in the left hemisphere in right-handed individuals and in 50% of those who are left-handed. But half of left-handed people have their language center on the right side of the brain. So, like I said, it kind of it's not like it's a you can cleave your brain in twain and it's this or that, but yeah. So other common effects of left hemisphere strokes, and just think of just the left side of the brain, inability inability to effectively control or move the right side of the body, numbness on the right side of your body, being unable to understand what others are saying, trouble reading, writing, or dealing with numbers, trouble seeing to the right side in both eyes. So, But yeah, so it is one of those wonderful things on that front. Like I said, thinking about the language aspect, I imagine it probably sits a bit more in the right side of things if I was to gamble on that. Because the body is a miraculous thing that will really try its best to be like, hey, friend, pilot, whatever you are, let's try to circumnavigate some of these issues. We may be in choppy, troubled waters, but let's do our best to stay away from the crags. Let's do what we can. Yeah. So that is that. That's also why, like, I talk out of the corner of my mouth a lot more than that. Well, I guess that I at least I think so. It's annoying. Whenever I see it, I'm just like, I always look like I get like a perpetual snarl going. And it's like, that's not it at all. That's just kind of how it is. That's just how I look. I just look funny. So yeah, that and that's like some other habits because of that. And there's one in particular that didn't dawn on me until kind of recently, and I may have mentioned it before in a different rambling or something, but to like if I go, like, say I need to talk to like my boss or a coworker or just whomever, and they are in the middle of either doing something or having a conversation with somebody else, I don't interrupt. Which, if they're having a conversation about something, that makes sense. I don't speak up and interrupt because, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, like I might not hear it, and B, like, it's really hard for me to, like, and I say this if I'm having to count something, and a coworker will be like, hey, and try to talk to me about something, I'm like, you need to stop. Like, I can't carry on a conversation while I'm doing this. Like, it's because of the effort that it takes for me to divert all that attention to be able to listen to somebody. So, and much like anything, right? If you are starting and going, starting and stopping, it just wears you out. Just very mentally wears you out. Like, and just you get a lot more fatigued. At least that I do with it. So you have that. So like, yeah, like I don't say anything, so I'll just kind of stand there, and then eventually they'll be like, oh, hey, what's up? Because of that, I remember when I was a kid and stuff, my dad, very rural area, and my dad would be like, oh yeah, car's coming from that direction or that direction, and I'd be like, how do you know that? And he'd be like, how do you not know that? Oh, yeah. So I'd be a very bad bat with my echolocationing. I am not a Batman, as it were. It is, because I can't, that's the other thing, I cannot locate sound very well. Which, I've mentioned it before, I really would like to stream playing Thief at some point. Thief 1 and Thief 2. Because I've kind of noticed it a little bit with while playing recently with Resident Evil 4 with the headphones and stuff. Like, if something's coming and it's coming out of this one, I don't hear it. If I have it on the speakers, at least this one can hear it, so I can be a little bit more cognizant. But I want to play Thief with headphones at some point. Because it's like an extra bit of challenge. It's partially because I'm an idiot and there's like a whole bunch of keys and I don't know what I do. It's kept me from really playing it, but I want to stream those at some point, because that everybody always talks about the how well the sound and stuff is, and I can believe them. I'll certainly take the word for it. I just know that would be really tough for me. It'd be really, really difficult. Because if you're going down a hallway and there's a door here, you could open the door. I might not hear anything until I'm like about here, and then I might be like, oh, I'm in trouble. Ralph Wiggum, I'm in danger. But yeah, that I don't know if there was anything else. Oh, wearing, minor things, wearing glasses or sunglasses or something is always really annoying, because they'll just, like, unless they're like hugging my face or something pretty tightly, which is already annoying, because then it starts to kind of constrict and get a little headachy. It'll just kind of fall off. Where are my head? Where are they at? Hold on, time out. I will grab them. Case in point, have that. Oh, look. Look at that. Oh, it's a lot easier to demonstrate without it. This is really annoying. I can't quite do that so much here. Look. Unless you knock them off your head. But, so, as much as I really didn't care for the Matrix when growing up and seeing it, I always liked the Morpheus ones, because you can just plop them right there. Like, man, that'd be really cool to have those kind of glasses, because then I wouldn't have to worry about doing this. This is the most aggravation I get in a day, which is saying something, but but it makes it worse. That's why I always have these. So like whenever anybody talks about earbuds or anything, like I cannot fit them in my ear, and I'm probably grateful for that to some degree, but it is always funny when people are like, oh, just wear one. I'm like, I would not be able to hear anybody. And I know they've got those because they have the audio cancel, but then if somebody tries talking, it turns down or something. I don't know how it works, but yeah, I'll just stick with these. Which is also nice because I could either, I could do this and then still hear it to some degree, but I can hear everything else, so I can have that sort of power. And if I wanted to be super sneaky, do it this way, so that if I'm walking, if I'm trying to be paranoid and being mistrustful of everybody walking down the street and having headphones on, I can do this and I can keep an ear out for anything. That's it. I mean, there's probably more, but that's what I got for you. So, yeah. Thanks for listening. Thank you for lending me your ear. I had been long overdue on it, but partly I don't ever really, I never really grew up with a lot of the information, or the technical wording and information for it, and that's not something that I really think about outside of, oh yeah, this is why I have certain quirks and behaviors on things. Like also kind of shifting my, when I'm talking to somebody, I kind of shift it a little bit. I mean, it's easier when it's just talking to the camera, but I kind of do one of those kind of things. Yeah, so that is what I got for you today. Thank you for listening, watching, what have you. Yeah, that's. I don't think I have anything else to add to that. But yeah, like I was saying, it's why I really haven't talked about it, because it's not something I think about, and it's not something, even though I've experienced it, I don't really have a lot of the technical information. And it may stick in my head. I may actually forget it. It's because it's not, because I know my parents have asked, not like repeatedly, but every now and again, it's like, oh, would you want to get like a hearing aid or to have that other surgery at some point? And it's like at this point in the game, no, a little bit later than anything, and I'm not too plussed about it to be like, oh yes, I need to do this. Would it possibly open up some like avenues of, oh wow, I can hear. This is interesting, maybe, but in the same hand, I think it does enough to kind of cut me from being too much myself, if that makes sense. It gives me enough of a chance to keep things reined in, which in some hands may not be the best thing, but it is developed, and it's allowed me to develop a little bit more of a willingness to be reserved, be introspective, let's just pump the brakes a little bit. And I think that has been much more of a gift than a hindrance. And I don't think I would have had that if I was just kind of the two-eared variety. And I mean, it's funny too, because as you get older, it becomes less and less of a thing. Because like as a kid, it was much more of a, because I had to have a bubble thing on my head after surgery, so it got called Bubble Man and Bubble Boy and stuff, which was always mean, because Bubble Man was the easiest of the Mega Man 2 master robots. That or Metal Man. Probably Metal Man. Bubble Man, it was pretty weak, but Metal Man was probably a little bit easier. They're both not very good. And Bubble Boy became a goofy movie. But as you get older and stuff, it has become less and less and less of a thing, to where, people, like, especially when I have the hair long or something, they don't even notice it, and then even buzzed or something, it's not noticeable. It's also nice because then you can, if somebody wants to be not necessarily aggressive or mean, but like I remember dealing with somebody for work, and they were upset about something, and then they were like, I need to get a hold of your ear and stuff. They said something along those lines, and it was the first time meeting this person, and I was like, well, ma'am, please be careful, it's the only one I got. Hey, it's very disarming, but you just kind of have a funny little laugh about it, and that usually, you just kind of laugh with it, and like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, no, like, I'm just teasing, just don't. But yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for listening and whatnot. Enjoy your day, weekday, weeknight, weekend, and everything in between. I have 116 episode next week. Gracious. Yeah, and then the outro will not be that. It is going to be this. It is bloomin' with a little apostrophe, bloomin' feeling, which is the World Electronica mix. It's a song from Nekomata Master, the End in the World album, or Sayonara Sekai. So, yes. At least I think that's what the album is in Japanese, because the image for it has that listed in it and stuff. But yeah, it's a nice little tune, and toodles.